Hi, welcome to this second screencast on developing a web application with ADF. So if you recall, in the first screencast, what I did was I've generated some artifacts from an Oracle XE database. The Oracle XE database contains a default HR application that is shipped with XE. And what I have done in the first screencast is to generate some entities, some view objects from the HR database. So if you are unfamiliar with this screencast, please I urge you to go and look at it. So in this second screencast, we will be using those artifacts to now develop a simple web application. So specifically, we will be developing this application, which is called a department browser. So our web application consists of one web page, which has on the left hand side we have got this area called department, which allows us to browse the department. And as we are browsing the department, all the employees will automatically all the employees in that department will automatically be displayed here in a table form. And when we click on a particular employee, the details of the employee will be shown here. So let's go ahead and create this application. So let me close my OpenOffice first. So this is where we left off the last time. In the last screencast, we have generated all this under the model module. We won't be going through this again. So in this screencast, we are going to work with view controllers. So in a view controller, there's this page flow, which is called the ADFC config. So ADFC config, if you can think of it, is like the view of the pages in your application. So currently our application does not have any views or any pages. So the first thing we want to do is drag a view from our palette and drop it in here. And I'm going to call this department employee page. So if you notice that besides my component palette, I also have this property browser, which gives me the property of whatever I'm clicking. Okay, and this little window underneath here is a structure of the page, and the use of this will become apparent in a little while. So if you notice, our page has got this little yellow triangle with an exclamation mark. So what this means is that my view, employee department view, doesn't have a backing page. That means there is no page. So to do that, you just double click, and now I can select the type of page layout I want. Okay, so I'm going to use the wizard to help me. So I'm going to do a quick start layout. So there are different types of layouts. What we will do is we will select one that is closest match to our application. In this case, I'm going to select a two column with one of the columns has got two panels or two rows, and select that. And then I want this particular style, this particular layout, which is locked on the top and the left lock. Basically here means that I cannot adjust the size during runtime, but I can adjust it during development time or during design time. So once I've selected that, I click apply themes, okay, and I'll click OK. So JDeveloper will now go ahead and generate that page for me. So give it a little while. Okay, so if you look at the bottom left hand corner, you will notice the structure of the page. So I can select to get to any component. I can select here, or I can select here. So this view gives me more control over the components in the page. Okay, so what I want to do is this. I want to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so I will select the forms. Nope, not the forms, the stretch layout. Okay, and I say I want the start to be, let's say, 300 pixels. Okay, so I get that 300 pixels, and also I want to make this to be 100. to be 200. So let me just expand that a little bit. Okay, I can select that and go back up a little bit and just say I want the top height to be, let's say, 200. Okay, so now I've got that size. So once I've selected that, now remember we have set it so that these two panels is non-adjustable during when the customer is using it or when the users are using it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put an accordion here, accordion panel here. So accordion, ACCORDION here. So accordion, drag and drop it here. So currently the accordion will only have one tab, and I'm going to call this department. So this will have my department selector over here. So over here I'm going to use something called a panel collection. So a panel collection, drag and drop it here. So panel collection allows me to to display my data in a group, either as a tree or maybe as a table. And finally under here I'm going to for the individual customer, individual employees, I'm going to use a tab panel, drop it here. Okay, and I'm going to say, so currently my tab panel only has one tab. I'm going to say employee. Okay, and what I also going to do is this. I'm going to add a panel group in here. Panel group, drop it in here. Okay, and I want the layout to be vertical. Okay, so vertical, so when I drop components in here, they will stack on one another. So now I've got my layout done. So the next thing I want to do is this. I want to populate this layout with data. So if you recall, as I said earlier, every view has got associated with it a set of operations, and that is called data controls. So also we have actually generated 3 views: the department views, the employee views, and the job view. So since we are dealing with department, so we will open the department data control. So if you look at department data control, we've got the department fields and also the employees under department. So this is a master detail relationship. So in other words, when I select a department, I will get the employees in the department. With every control, there is also a set of predefined operations, and you can create more operations. For example, operations like creating a record, executing some statements, etc. And also there are some name criteria. Name criteria are name queries, in JPA. There is one default criteria, which is find all or select all, everything. Okay, so we won't be using operations and name criteria in this screencast. So I'm going to display department here. The way to do it is just to drag department and drop it onto my accordion. So when I drop it into my accordion, it will let me know, what are the type of how should I be rendering department. So I'm going to render it as a form, and since I'm not going to change it, I'm only going to render it as a read-only form. So you can click that, and now I can customize what are the fields that I want to display. So I'm going to use all of them. I also want to include the navigation controls, which allows me to scroll through my department. So I'm going to click OK, and what happens now is JDeveloper will now generate the components to display that page, to display that data. So this is what is generated. So if you want to change the text, you can click here and you can change the label. So but we're just going to keep it as it is. So secondly, we are going to display the employees in that department. So we're going to select this employee. So this employee is related to this department, so we must select this and not this. So take this employee and drop it in here. Okay, since this is a panel collection, there are only 2 ways that we can render it, either as a table or as a tree. So I'm going to render it as a table, and I'm going to render it as a read-only table. Again, we are presented with the list of columns that we can customize, and row selection, I'm going to say, I'm going to need to select single row. I can't select multiple row, otherwise, you know, the bottom portion will not be able to display it. And also I'm going to enable sorting and filtering. So when I click that, when I click that, again JDeveloper will go off and generate the view for me. Okay, so I also want to enable column selection. So I'm going to select single column selection right here. Okay, so the table can now be filtered, be sorted. I can do row selection, and I can also perform column selection. And finally, I'm going to select. So when I select employee here, I want to display that particular employee. Again, I take this employee now and I drop it in here. Okay, so since this is a group panel, JDeveloper now provides me with a list of options to display the data. So what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to display it as an ADF. I'm going to display it as a form. Okay, so when I click that, so these are the form. These are the data again in the record, and I'm not going to include any of those. So now I have this little page. So the department, the employees in the department, and a particular employee. So now that we have done that, let's execute the program and see. So I'm going to click on run on the page, and what's going to happen is JDeveloper is now going to build our little application, and is going to now deploy it. Okay, so as you can see, it's actually rendering the application now. It's starting off for the first time, so it's taking it's slightly slower because it has to initialize a few things. So now it is actually loading the pages now. So this is our application, the department on the left, the list of employees on the top, and the employee details on the right. So I can scroll through them. So as I scroll through them, you notice that I get a list of the employee. So I can click on here, and you will also notice that the employee detail changes. Okay, so I can also do, for example, I can also do some filtering. For example, give me all the employee numbers that are greater than 116. I can do like that, and also only show me those employee that starts with an S, for example. Okay, so these are the two criteria. Okay, I can also, for example, say rearrange the column, or I could, like, for example, freeze this column, and just look at here. Okay, I could also unfreeze that, and I could also select the column. So for example, maybe I do not want employee ID and I do not want hire date. Okay, so I can change that. So as you can see, ADF allows you to be very, very productive, and yet at the same time we are generating a standard code that are based on the Java EE standard. So until next time, in the next screencast, what we'll be doing is this: we'll be customizing our entity objects and our view objects. For example, stuff like that. Manager ID looks really ugly. We would like to display the name of the manager or the name of the department, and also we would like to do some customizations over here, and maybe do some printing support for the column. So so all this we will do in the third screencast. So thank you very much. Till next time.